Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Corner HVAC. I am glad you joined me this evening. I want to first say thank you to all the subscribers and viewers and all the people out there commenting and the thumbs up and all that kind of stuff that you guys do. The support from you guys is awesome. I do want to also invite you, if you are new to the channel or watching for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It really does mean a lot to me, so I appreciate all of that. I also want to say thank you if any of you watched, which I think you can go back and see it. Last night I did a live video where I had a couple of questions on what I should be doing as far as YouTube versus podcasts and all these different things like that. So, check that out. There's still time to get your comments in there. I have not made my final decision yet, but I do have a lot of people saying the same kind of thing. So if you want any input on that, go ahead and go there and hit me up in the comments. But tonight, what I wanted to talk about was something that does come up from time to time. And because like I say, I love the comments that everybody puts on there. I've talked to people all over the place, in different states across this country, in other countries, all kinds of things. And they just talk about their personal heating and air or their personal experiences. I hear a lot from new techs going through school, and they talk about how, they've got 2 weeks left, or they're starting this next or doing that. I think that's awesome. I love hearing what everybody has to say. So, that's awesome. But from time to time, I get one of those that I don't know if, I don't know what to call it exactly, because I don't want to say haters. I've done a couple videos on Andy loving on the haters, and I did enjoy that a lot. And I'm not trying to love on any haters or anything, because I am big on, like I said, I like to see the comments. I like to talk to everybody and all that kind of stuff. And like I said in my video yesterday, I don't discriminate against anybody's comments, all that kind of stuff. You can say whatever you want. If you think I'm an idiot, go for it. I don't even care if you use foul language. There's that little slide checker box thing on YouTube, like when you put a video out there that you can mark potentially inappropriate comments from going, public or whatever. Don't care. I think everybody should be able to say what they want. Just the same as I think you should be able to say what you want, I think I should be able to say what I want. So that's a little bit what we're going to talk about tonight. There's a lot of, keyboard warriors. That's what I was the word I was trying to find earlier, the phrase I was trying to find. There are a lot of keyboard warriors out there, and the one I'm going to talk about in particular, I don't know if that's the case of what it was or not, but, he's got his right to his opinions, and I've got my right to my opinions. So, I want to hear what everybody has to say, and if you think that I'm wrong, then go ahead and tell me all about it, because I want to know. But at the same time, be prepared for me to have a little bit of comeback, because I do have a little bit of basis behind what I'm talking about. I never go out here and say that, hell, I just know it all. I know more than anybody. I can do anything in heating and air, and I know all about it. I have never once said that, and you will never find me saying that. I am not a know-it-all of this industry by any means. It is what it is. I've done a couple of things, and I've seen a few things, and that's what I like to talk about. And we also have to remember, everybody has circumstances in different areas. People do things differently in one area than they do the other, blah, 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 whatever. Either way, my point is tonight, I want to talk about the comment that I got from a guy named John. I don't know if that's his real name or not. I don't know if I'm really even supposed to be reading off people's comments, but the way I see it is my channel, and you put it out there publicly. So I think I should be able to do whatever I want with it, right? I mean, it was a public comment. It wasn't private. And he wasn't really angry or mean or anything like that. And I am also I'm going to comment back. I have not responded to him just yet. Normally I try to respond really quickly. But I wanted to think about things a little bit. And I always say that I don't plan or do any, fancy stuff to get my videos ready. I'd rather just, talk to people, because that's what I like to do. This time I do have a couple of notes written down, because we're going to go through some math facts to prove what truth is. And so I just want to, go over that a little bit as well. So first, without further ado, I want to read you what John said to me 20 hours ago, and it's been edited. So he did go back. John, I don't know why you edited, if you had, misspelling, or I'm going to give you some help with math tips here in a little bit. Whatever it was, I'm going to read this for you guys. And he comments, oh, I guess I should tell you, this was posted on a video that I did about zoning systems. If you know much about it, if you're a tech out there, or if you're a homeowner, maybe you have zoning, anything like that. I'm a big believer in zoning for a lot of different reasons, not the reasons that he says here, which we'll get to that. But this video was on zoning. It does, because I have another video out there about that. But then he goes into about multi-stage furnaces. And actually, I've got another video on that. That actually I've talked to a lot of people through comments and different connections about the two-stage furnace debate. Because one of the things that like I talk about on here, a lot of times some of the things that I say or some of the things that I do, a lot of times they are, there's things that are controversial in the HVAC industry sometimes. One guy does it this way, one guy does it this way, and then there's other people in the middle, and who knows? So we all do it differently. Not saying that anybody's wrong, and I'm not really even saying that John is wrong here by any means, but he is coming at me on my channel, on my group of comments, and I've got a lot of people on there that usually have like happy things to say, and I'm not one of those guys that, I only want to hear happy things. I want to hear the bad things too, but if you try to get smarter than you think you are on my channel, I'm probably going to come at you with a video like this, just so you know. So, everybody say whatever they want on the videos. And a bunch of people may call me an asshole 10 times over in the comments after this video. I'm not really trying to be an asshole, but I do want to voice my points, why I say some of the things that I do, especially in that video and in one of the other videos about two-stage furnaces. So I'm just saying, say whatever you want, but be prepared to have the information to like fight back a little bit. Because he wrote 20 hours ago, zoning is just a patch for crappy ductwork. Okay. Single stage furnace is basically obsolete. No reason to install them anymore. Two stage is vastly superior. Okay. Running longer does not cause higher gas bills. Burning less gas over a longer period of time, unless ducts are in the unconditioned space, efficiency on low and high fire are very similar within 5%. We'll keep up with that. Cycling on and off is not desirable. Cycling is an artifact of supplying too much heat. The best furnace is the one that doesn't ever turn off. Okay? A properly sized two-stage controlled by a two-stage thermostat will not turn off in bitter winter. The end. So that is, I read that straight off of my account. That is what he wrote, right? So I would like to break this down a little bit with everybody and give my opinions on some of the things that he said in here, right? And it's the reasoning behind why I do say some of the things that I say in my videos. So first off, zoning is just a patch for crappy ductwork. Okay, so, let's look at it. If you are a homeowner and you have multiple thermostats in your house and you have a zoning system, does everyone out there believe that zoning is nothing but to fix insufficient ductwork? I mean, I would like to know. I would like to know what everybody's thought is on that, because, most of us are out there putting it in for comfort value. Because, that's what it's all about. That's what zoning is. Now, I will say to John, if he watches this, or for all the people watching, there are contractors out there that use zoning to compensate for inadequate ductwork. That's true. I'm not going to argue that. There are some really shitty contractors out there that do really shitty work. I apologize. I'm using foul language. I should not do that. But there are contractors out there that do that, right? So, but to say that that's the whole purpose of zoning, and this is basically implying that all contractors do shitty ductwork. And that's absolutely not true. That's like saying, okay, well, I had a flat tire on a Chevy car 27 years ago. Chevy is junk. No one out there should buy it. Do you see what I'm saying? Because zoning is like an accessory. And, the manufacturer doesn't even make that, like a Amana Lennox Carrier. Carrier does make some of their zoning. It's actually made by somebody else. So they just put their name on it. Whatever, theirs is different. But, it's just like Chevy or Ford or whoever, they don't make their tires. Firestone, Goodyear, whoever, they make them and they put them on that car in the factory. So if you got a flat tire, you can't say Chevy is junk or Ford is junk. You can never own a Ford because they are just trash. I mean, to me, that's the same reference. Now, like I said, there are contractors out there that do that. They do really crappy ductwork. They do really crappy installs, and just the whole thing is crap. That's out there. I mean, I have seen that. I have seen systems that have been in for 2 or 3 years have to be completely ripped out, gutted, and started over. It's unfortunate, but sometimes it's out there. That's why I tell everybody, use a good contractor that you trust with a good with a good reputation, and within your community that you're in, everybody knows them. Other people, talk to other people that have used them and see what they said and all these kind of things. Use a good contractor. The cheap guy isn't always the best guy. We all know that, right? So if it just burns me up to hear people say, oh, all contractors are putting in junk work and they put in zone systems to overcompensate that. No, the point for zoning systems is for comfort. If you have, let's say, a 2-story house or a bi-level or a tri-level house, and all the bedrooms are on one end, the rest of the living space is on the other end of the house, and you like it to be 68 degrees when you sleep, but you don't mind it being 72 degrees in the rest of the house, why not have multiple thermostats to be able to set those temperatures where you like them? I like it colder over here where I sleep. I want it warmer over here so I don't use as much on the electric bill and all that kind of stuff. Why would you not want the added comfort? Not to mention the efficiency factor that comes out of that, because you do get more efficiency with the zone system if the ductwork's right. I will agree with John there. The ductwork does have to be right. But the ductwork has to be right even if you don't have a damn zoning system. It's got to be right all the time. We want a total static pressure on the average, gas furnace, whatever. Everybody's going to pop up and say, oh, but what about on this system? Blah, blah, blah. The average, the standard gas furnace, you want your total external static pressure below 0.50. That's a manufacturer rating. It has been out there for years. You can look inside your furnace at the data tag on the side, and it will say maximum total allowable static pressure is 0.50. Okay? On supply and return duct, we want to see 0.10 or less. Me personally, I'm a big 0.08 guy, but 0.10 is really our maximum, what we want that to see, to have a true, efficient, well-ventilated house as far as the duct ventilation. I'm not getting into house ventilation. I shouldn't have said ventilation. But as far as your duct system, to have it right, really we should have 0.10 or less total, or 0.10 or less static pressure on both the supply and the return. And then by the time we add a filter and an evaporator coil and everything in there, we want to be at 0.50 or less total external static pressure. If you are a homeowner or somebody out there watching these videos and you don't know what static pressure is, I do have, I'm not trying to throw other video prompts in there, but I do have a static pressure video out there talking a little bit about it, like in homeowners terms, as far as how we should have it for our house and everything, in case you have a service tech that shows up at your house talking about you need to change all this stuff. There is reasoning behind it. Either way, the lower the number, the better on total static pressure. Just remember that. And if you are a tech out there, hopefully you're checking static pressure on systems. Where I am, we check the static pressure on pretty much every system we go to. When we install a new system, even if it's got a zoning system, John, even if it's got a zoning system, we check the static pressure before, and then after everything's all changed out, we check it again, make sure it's all right. And zoning systems, if he wants to throw back zoning system causes higher static pressure, because if you cut the house into 2 different duct systems and only one calls and the other one doesn't, and it's trying to blow all that air through one, you know what, that's why they make bypasses. They make bypass dampers. They make some automatic bypass dampers now that you can actually set the static pressure so you can balance that out, so you're not just dumping all the air, but you relieve just enough of that pressure to still have good static pressure, all that kind of stuff. Either way, that is my soapbox on zoning systems. Zoning systems are awesome. I don't care where you get your information from. Nobody's ever going to change my mind of that. They are well worth the investment. They are awesome. So let's move on. This is going to get a lot longer than I thought it was going to. Next is single stage furnace is basically obsolete. No reason to install them. 2-stage is vastly superior. Let's start at the first part of that. First stage or single stage gas furnaces are not obsolete. If you are in the industry at all, you know that single stage gas furnaces are still readily available. They are not going away. There's not a shortage like there is everything else in this world right now. There's not a shortage on single stage gas furnaces. They are still there. They're still making them. They're still using them. They're still putting them in. Where I am, no, we don't really put single stage furnaces in. I don't think in any of my videos I actually said my preference is a single stage furnace not because of the two-stage function, but because of the quality of furnace that you get in a two-stage. Typically, a two-stage furnace does have better quality, better efficiency ratings, and better warranties. That's my biggest thing, is better warranties. You get the better furnace when you move to a two-stage. It's like going and buying a truck. You can buy a Ford truck. I don't care what vehicle you drive. You can buy a Ford truck. You can buy the four-wheel drive version, just the standard, let's say F-150 4x4. Or you can go up to the Lariat package, or you can go to the limited package, and what's the other, King Ranch. It's different staging, and you get different things each time you move up. So it's like an upgrade, So, usually when you upgrade, let's say from that truck, you go by the basic 4x4, or you want to go up to the limited. Well, with that limited, you usually get better quality. You've got a different trim package, you've got different things added to the truck and different things like that. There's a reason why it costs more. It is changing some of the quality of the material. Now, as far as these furnaces, single versus two stage, as far as, building quality, as far as, how they actually operate and all that kind of stuff, I don't believe there's a huge difference in my opinion. And as far as, having a two-stage furnace, I've got a two-stage furnace in my house, and I'll tell you why here a little bit about more of how my furnace is. But I have a two-stage furnace in my house. Where I work, we put in pretty much two-stage gas furnaces. You get the warranties. You get the better function of the furnace. You get different things. And if you want to actually believe those government AFUE ratings, you can go with that too. Which I think I've got another video out there too, that how false the AFUE ratings are on a furnace. That's actually a bogus number. And if anybody wants to comment on that, I will be more than happy to talk to you about it. But people say, oh, I got a 96 or 98% efficient furnace. No, if you actually test that out in the field, there are ways to do that. If you actually test that for its true efficiency out in the field, they are not rating that. It's all like a government numbers deal. You add this to it, you get 2 more points. You add this to it, you get another point. You add this, and you automatically get points. So it's like a participation trophy where like everybody gets something, but somebody gets something a little more. Whatever. So as far as the two-stage furnaces, yes, I do recommend two-stage furnaces. But just like mine at home and all the other furnaces out there that I talk to people about, lock that thing into high stage and forget the two-stage part. And we'll get more into that in just a minute. So let's go down. Let's see. He says, running longer does not cause higher gas bills. Burning less gas over a longer period of time, unless duct is in an unconditioned space, which first off right there, ductwork in an unconditioned space needs to be insulated. Always insulate your ductwork if it's in an unconditioned space. Big believer in it. I never said otherwise, but always insulate your ductwork in an unconditioned space. Personally, I would insulate it in a conditioned space. That's just me. I don't like the BTU loss. That's a whole nother story. Efficiency on low and high are very similar within 5 points. Well, for one, that's bullshit. Two, the efficiency wise, as far as the actual burn. Now, if you're going to judge the efficiency of a furnace, you have to actually test the furnace. You can't just go off of AFUE ratings. And that's not just because I've got some personal vendetta against AFUE ratings. I do think they're bogus. But the fact of the matter is, the only way to really test that furnace is by doing combustion, doing static pressure, and all this kind of stuff. Did you know there's probably 65 to 75%, if not more, that's being very conservative with the numbers, it's probably more than that, of companies out there that are not doing combustion testing? How do you really know how that thing's burning? Is this like the old guy that's sitting on a bucket with a flashlight and he looks into the burners and he says, yep, they're yellow. Yep, they're blue. That's what it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. That is not how you check a furnace. It does not matter what color that flame is. I am telling you that right now. It does not matter. So if you've ever heard all these old wives' tales about this, it doesn't matter what color the flame is. So that's probably a topic for another video. But it's the only way to know what that efficiency is by doing combustion testing. You need to know what the oxygen level is. You need to know what the carbon monoxide level is. You need to know what the CO2 is, flue temperature, air temperature, all these things, your static pressure. You can put that all together and to see exactly what the efficiency is. And I am here to tell you that single stage furnaces do not run the same efficiency on low stage as they do high stage. Guaranteed. I've watched it in person. I can take you and show them to you right now if you want to see them. So, because I mean, if there's people out there that don't really know much about the two-stage furnaces, for one, a two-stage furnace usually runs at anywhere from about 60 to 70% of full capacity. Basically, that gas valve, the easiest way I explain it to people is that gas valve. Let's say it has capability of opening up this far and letting this much gas through. When it's on first stage, it lets this much gas through, right? And then you also have the blower speed changes. Some of the better ones have the inducer speed change and stuff like that. And I mean, the whole furnace ramps up and ramps down. It's not just that gas part, so there's more involved to it than that. But they basically run at 60 to 70% of their full capacity. So if you have, and I'm just throwing numbers out there as far as furnace sizing. So if you have a 100,000 BTU furnace, when it's in low stage, it's basically like having an 80% furnace, right? Or 80, let's start that over. If you have a 100,000 BTU furnace and it is running in first stage, you're only running, 50,000 BTUs, 60,000 BTUs, depending on what furnace you have. They're all a little bit different as far as that exact percentage that they run, but you're only running at part of that furnace. So if you're a 100,000 BTU furnace, that's what your house needs. That's what it was sized up for, and you run it at, let's be modest. Let's say 70,000 BTUs. Okay, so let's think about this. This was going to go on later, but so if you have somebody come out to your house and they do a load calculation on your house, which if you don't know what load calculation is, they come through, they measure the house up, they check insulation values, the values of the windows, doors, which ways everything sits. I mean, you name it. They look at it, and basically it spits out in the end. We come with this math calculation, and at the end it spits out and says, okay, on whatever degree day, on the coldest day, you need 100,000 BTUs to heat this house. Okay, so that's how we know to put a 100,000 BTU furnace in your house. Now, I will say a lot of houses around here where I'm at, 100,000 is like a massive furnace on a 90 plus efficient furnace. So there's not a lot of hundreds around here. There are some, but there's not mass amounts of them by any means. So I don't want everybody to hear this and say, oh God, we only deal with like 45 and 60,000 BTU furnaces. That's fine. We do too. Like 70 and 80,000 BTU furnaces are our normal sizes, but I'm using 100 just so it's easy math, that kind of thing. So math is not my thing. I had my 10-year-old check this math that we're getting ready to go over here in a little bit. So if they size your house up and you need 100,000 BTUs for that house, why would you want to run at like 70,000 BTUs? Why wouldn't you want to just heat the house up and be done? Now, I'm not saying overheat the house, because we don't want to do that. And I know John, our buddy here, is going to come back and say, yeah, but it's for the coldest day. You don't always need 100,000 BTUs. This is true. This is absolutely true. I agree with this, John. Yes. This means yes in America. That's true. But at the same time, let's do some other math. To help try to help me with my point, to try to understand it, I guess. So, the next thing it says is, because we've already figured out that, we run at like 60 to 70% capacity all the time, right? And he says cycling on and off is not desirable. I'm not really sure why, because I want mine to shut off every once in a while, because every time when it is running, when it is moving, it is costing me gas and electricity. So why would you not want to stop once in a while? And now I get the idea. Everybody always says like a flashlight will last. The batteries in a flashlight will last longer if you leave it on rather than turning it on and off and all that kind of stuff. Survival tip out there if you ever get like stranded in the wilderness or whatnot. They have tested this and supposedly it's true. Okay, I'm not going to argue that. But as far as like my gas furnace, I don't think you can get me on the idea that it is going to cost less for it to run 24/7. So he says, cycling is an artifact of supplying too much heat. Okay, well, it supplies too much heat, whatever. The best furnace is one that doesn't ever turn off. Okay, so like I said, we're going to do some math, and I tried to keep fairly easy math and basic. And like I said, that's not really my strong suit. So just for you, John, I had my 10-year-old double check all the math, and her figures come out the same. In my area, now everybody's area is going to be a little bit different. Everybody is going to have more heat degree days than other people and all that kind of stuff. But in my area, we're just going to call it 6 months out of the year we use our furnace. Round here where I'm at, it's probably a little bit less than that. Other areas are going to be more. So we're just going to break the year in half for easy numbers, and we're going to use our furnace for 6 months out of the year. Every day for 6 months. Okay, so that gives us in 6 months 168 days that our furnace is going to operate. All right? And now John said that he wants that furnace to never shut off. It needs to run 24/7 for 6 months, right? That's the way the comment read. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but that's how I read it. So the average furnace cycles between 3 to 5 times an hour. Okay, you with me so far? The average run time for a gas furnace is anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. So to try to go on averages, and you can do this math differently because I tried it different ways and it actually comes out the same way either time, just with different numbers. So if 3 to 5 times an hour, the unit comes on and runs. So we're going to cut it in the middle. We're going to call it 4 times an hour that unit comes on, right? So if the average run time is between 5 and 15 minutes, we're going to call it 10 minutes. So 4 times an hour, that unit is going to kick on and run for 10 minutes, right? So I don't know what your kilowatt rate is where you're at. Be honest with you, I'm not even sure what mine is here. I'm actually on propane or LP, and LP is actually really high right now. I just filled my 1,000-gallon tank for my summer fill, and it's really high. So, numbers are going to be more. But either way, to make it simple, I'm going to say 1 kilowatt is going to... All right, so I said that completely wrong. I kept saying kilowatt. I apologize. Therm is what I'm supposed to be saying, therm, because I know somebody was going to nail me on that one. It's not measured in kilowatts. That is your electrical usage, so I apologize. But therm is what I'm trying to say. I wrote it down as kilowatt for some reason. I was scratching notes really quickly, and that's where I got that. So a therm. So a therm of fuel running through that furnace. Let's say it costs you $1, right? So we're going to run 4 times an hour for 10 minutes each, and it's going to cost $1 a therm to run, right? So if you add that four run times of 10 minutes up, that comes to 40 minutes total, right? So let's call that $40, right? So that's what it's going to cost you an hour to run that. Now, nobody is paying $40 an hour to heat their house by any means. These are like messed up numbers, but the number is there just to get a reference. So let's say it costs you $40, okay? So the average first stage furnace, we already decided, runs between 60 and 70% of full capacity. So we'll call that 65%. We'll cut it in the middle because there's different brands that do different things. We'll call it 65% of full capacity. If that thing runs for an hour and it is $1 a therm to run it, that equals $65 in an hour. So maybe I did the math wrong, but I'll have my 10-year-old check it again. But I am pretty confident that $65 is more than $40, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I'm not a math magician or anything crazy like that, but I'm pretty confident that 65 is more than 40. So How in the world? And that's only running in first stage because, it said that, oh, needs to run all the time. Well, a lot of these thermostats, yes, you can use a 2-stage thermostat, and you can set it to stage at different times, all this kind of stuff. But John, you do have to realize, and I'm sure that you already know, that these thermostats build their own algorithms in them so that if it is ran too long, it's automatically going to go to second stage, because it is very hard to get that thermostat to lock it into first stage all the time unless somebody physically goes in there and removes the W2 wire or something like that. So, it is, so with these numbers, that's only counting if it runs in first stage. That's not even counting if it jumps up and goes full capacity. So if you are $65 in an hour, and that's at 65%, well, what happens for, let's say half that hour it runs at 60%, and then the second half it runs at full capacity? Isn't that going to be more? I mean, that's going to be more therms being burnt. So, I mean, that's going to cost you more. You cannot argue this math with me that running that 2-stage furnace in 2 stages, or trying to run it all the time, 24/7, never stopping off. You can't tell me that is going to save you any money. I mean, that's not realistic. It's not mathematically possible. It just does not exist. So I'm sorry, but you will not sell me on that idea. And like I said, my numbers that I come up with, like $1 a therm and all this kind of stuff, those are just reference points. I mean, the actual therm usage, your price of therm and all that kind of stuff is going to be different depending on where you're at. I'm not trying to make big numbers to make it look like this big, huge difference by any means. I mean, you can change that to like a couple fractions of a cent or whatever, like you want it to be. But I mean, the adding the math up, adding the therms up is still going to be the same way. So, I mean, it just does not make sense to me that to say that, it needs to run all the time, and it 2-stage furnaces are the only way to go. Now, like I said before, I am a believer in 2-stage furnaces for the fact of the quality, the warranty, and efficiencies that you do get out of them, not because of the fact that they run in 2 stages. Our industry is, putting out Kool-Aid that everybody is drinking, that 2-stage furnaces are built for efficiency. That is totally bogus. I have met a lot of people that have had 2-stage furnaces in their house and let it run on 2 stages, and it costs way more money than when we switch it over to a single-stage furnace and tune it like it's supposed to be. Now, that is one of the keys to that, locking in single stage or locking in high fire. You have to tune the furnace. If you have any questions on, beyond this, you want to do your own research or anything, look up a guy named Jim Davis. I'm sorry, the name escaped me there. Look up Jim Davis. He's out there all over the internet. He works for NCI at the moment. He does certifications on carbon monoxide analysis and testing. And he is like the guru of carbon monoxide stuff. Actually, I would love to see, I'm actually going to see him here in a couple of weeks. He's doing a training for some of our guys at the shop, and I want to ask him if he will come onto the YouTube channel and do a video with me. I don't know if he will or not, but he's been in the industry for a very, very long time and a very intelligent man at what he does. He's the best around at doing that kind of thing. So, if you question me tuning furnaces or adjusting this or adjusting that to make the fire rate just right, and you don't believe what I have to say, go check him out, because he can tell you all about it. He's got all kinds of things out there, literature that is proof that this actually works. Now, that is why I say use 2-stage furnaces and lock them into high fire, is because we do tune them. Now, if you're a homeowner or a tech that hasn't been trained to do that or anything like that, do not go out there and start fiddling with your furnace. That is not a good idea. It could potentially not be safe. It could kill somebody, hurt somebody, burn something, etc., etc. Don't do that if you don't know what you're doing. But my biggest thing with this whole video is the idea that John wants to basically imply that I'm coming up with excuses to justify poor ductwork, or maybe I said something about furnaces, 2-stage furnaces that he didn't like or something like that. And I'm a full believer in free speech. You can say anything you want. Like I said, I will not block any comments. I will not remove any comments from my YouTube channel. So, I mean, if you want to get on there and slander me beyond belief, I'm pretty sure my shoulders are big enough to hold it. I'm not too scared. So, say whatever you want out there. But my biggest thing is, all these people want to get out there and put their comments on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or all this other crap that's out there. I say that as I'm making a YouTube video. Yeah, I guess I am one of them too. But either way, all these people want to say something, and there's so many of these people out there, like creators on YouTube or the social media people that are big on Twitter and Facebook and all this other stuff. A lot of them, they get offended by these comments and they like, oh, I'm going to change what I say so nobody gets mad. You know what? I say screw that. If you want to say something negative to me, that's awesome. Please do. That way I have something to talk about on these videos. And the best part is that, I have the opportunity to be able to voice my opinions on it. Why I said something like this or why I did it this way. We have just the same as everybody has that freedom of speech. Everyone has the freedom to be able to fight back a little bit. And I think more people should. And I hope more people do. And I'm not trying to stand on some soapbox and say, oh, you need to stand up for yourself. But in a lot of ways, yeah, if I had a soapbox right now, I'd probably stand on it and tell you, you need to stand up for yourself. Don't pull out that I'm being bullied, so I'm going to change what I do kind of crap. Because don't be pushed around by the Johns of this world that want to talk on YouTube. And I also, before we get off here, I need to apologize to John because I didn't mean to be as sarcastic or confrontational as I may have came off. But then again, I kind of did. Yeah, I kind of did. I'm not looking for like a keyboard fight or anything like that because I could really care less. I've got other stuff to do. But I do like the idea that I can at least voice my opinions to fight back on what I have to say. So, that's pretty much all I have to say. If I have not pissed you off bad enough to not watch any of my videos ever again, please hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit the bell icon that we get notifications every time a new video comes out. Give it a big thumbs up like they always say. And share with all your friends because it's just the right thing to do. So, have a good night. Thank you and God bless.